Alrighty, guys, we're back for 3 Blind Mice combo, and this is a Dragonstorm Standard Brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. But first things first, this was a suggestion over in the Discord, so thank you so much for the suggestion. It's gonna be a fun one. We have all 3 Blind Mice. It's a 3-mana enchantment saga. For the first chapter, you create a 1/1 white mouse creature token. Nice. For the next 2 chapters, create a token that's a copy of target token you control. Okay, then chapter 4, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance until end of turn. So the combo that we're trying for is to create a copy token of 3 blind mice. So that way you can create a token that's a copy of that 3 blind mice, right? So we're going to be accomplishing this with cards like Doppelgang, for example. It's a triple X green and a blue sorcery for each of X target permanents. Create X tokens that are copies of that permanent. So a great way to copy the 3 blind mice. So every turn for chapter 2 and 3, you can continue to copy the 3 blind mice, right? But a new way is actually Shiko, Paragon of the Way. It's a 5-mana rockin' Jeskai colors up there. 4/5 legendary creature. Has flying, vigilance, and when it enters, exile target non-land card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard. Copy it, then you may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. And it does give us a little note here. A copy of a permanent spell becomes a token. Awesome stuff. So if we can get 3 blind mice to the grave, then we can bring it back with the Shiko as a token. So that way you can copy the token with the middle 2 chapters, of course, right? So that's pretty cool. How are we getting it to the grave? Well, of course, the saga will just eventually go to the grave after chapter 4 anyways, right? Sacrifice after 4th. But we do have other ways in here, like Bitter Reunion can at least discard it, and then this could be a great way to give a nice wide board state haste too. Outside of that, not too many other ways to get the 3 blind mice into the grave. Maybe the opponents will pop it with a Get Lost or something, right? We do have other ways to copy those tokens. Caretaker's Talent making the cut as a 4 of, also being our main card draw. Well, that's not necessarily true. We do have 3 Up the Beanstalks in here because we have a bit of a domain theme going on. Removal like Leyline Binding is going to be incredible in here. We do have Herd Migration, which we definitely got to do some rearranging, right? I'm looking at that bottom ability at first on the Herd Migration. As far as Leyline Binding rearranging goes, it might not actually be 1 mana very often in here because the mana base doesn't actually have any swamps. However, we do have all 4 Overlords, which generates that everywhere, which does count as a swamp. So maybe, right? Overlord should just be an excellent addition in here, and it pairs nicely with cards like Doppelgang too, because you wouldn't mind copying a whole bunch of Overlord of the Hauntwoods as well. A tiny little bit of a dragon theme packed in. We have a couple Encroaching Dragonstorms to help us mana fix, grab those basic lands out of the deck list. Also, when a dragon you control enters, return this enchantment to its owner's hand, which is actually pretty cool because then you can go ahead, play it again, grab some more basics out of the deck list. Here's some more of those dragons. 4 Sagu something Wildling. It's a 5-mana 3/3 with flying, and when it enters, you gain 3 life, which is fine, right? But it has Omen here too. Roost Seek is just 1 green mana sorcery, and it's definitely worth doing the rearranging here, right? Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle, which actually should be pretty darn good in a deck list like this. Also here on the top end, we have Dragonback Assault, which is a 6-mana enchantment rockin' Teamer colors up there. When this enchantment enters, it deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. Okay. And then landfall, whenever a land you control enters, create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying. Yeah, it should be a neat one of here on the top end. Honorable mentions, guys. This is important. In the original suggestion looked much different, but it had much better protection for just survival. Temporary lockdown was in there. Sunfall was in there. It was a very tough decision to drop these incredible board wipes, especially with how many hyper aggressive deck lists we've been seeing. Hopefully we'll be fine, right? I tried to lean a little further into the combo, and I also tried to lean a little further into mana fixing instead, but by the final thoughts, we might talk about going up a couple Sunfalls or something. Oh, the mana base, guys. I thought about the mana base for quite some time. I hope I landed on something. We'll talk more about that in the final thoughts as well. All right. Either way, I do my dandiest to save the more in-depth discussion for those final thoughts for that end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked, see how we do. All right, we'll see if we can get right into that first game. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? Dude, I don't know. We got like the whole mini domain thing going on in here. We got a lot of good cards packed in. 1 mana in the opener. Bro. Okay, we should mulligan. Oh, much better. Wow. And we go first here too. Oh, beautiful. I'm tempted to send the land because we can just grab a land with the Omen on the Wildling. And we're going to want to grab a green source. We'll have blue on the Archive. We're about to ramp with the Overlord too. I'm pretty sure we send a land, right? And it would be the island. And start with the Surveil. Okay, 3 blind mice I'm keeping on top because that's important. I guess we could have started with the Wildling, but we didn't have to based on this hand. So that's fine, right? I guess so, yeah. I guess it depends what we're anticipating to have on top. So we want to grab the other green source to make sure we have double green for the Overlord when it comes time. Could also start with 3 blind mice. No, 3, well. Yeah. It's Overlord, probably. Okay, Jeskai colors. That could easily be a counterspell. If they do counter the Overlord, I guess that's fine. I'd say it's still worthwhile, right? Because at least it's not... Well... Okay, it lands. Okay. Just overthinking that, I guess. So now that the Everywhere is there, that's a token too, right? So create a token. That's a copy of target token. Doesn't say non-land token, so I guess we can ramp a couple times with the 3 blind mice if we want, which is pretty significant for when it comes time with the Doppelgang. The Lightning Helix, they go stock up here. This seems cool so far, doesn't it? With the opponent being tapped out. Wow, Overlord. Dude, we should just play it, right? We totally should. I think so. I'd love to get 3 blind mice down while they're tapped out, but then we have 2 open mana for what? I guess we keep Leyline Binding open? Yeah, no. I mean, this is much better while they're tapped out. Just establish a 6/5 real quick that also ramps us, right? So... as much as I'd love to get the 3 blind mice down, there's another thing too. If they counter it and it's not like an exile counter spell, then it'll be in the grave ready for our dragon. Alright, I'm going to do this before combat, see what we can do here, see what we can pull off, and then I'll swing, and then I'll play the other 3 blind mice. Okay. Swing. Is anything going to happen to our Overlord of the Hauntwoods? With 3 blind mice established, you know, a Get Lost could hit that instead, but... Alright, they go down to 17. I'm trying to think if there's anything in Standard that would punish us for getting another enchantment on the board. And I feel like... No. I feel like we're fine. We just get this down while we can. Alright, so far our Doppelgang is almost at X's 2, as we have 7 mana on the board. Now the token that's a copy of Everywhere will come out untapped, right? So that's actually pretty gross. We'll have X's 2 then at that point, even if we miss mana off the top. Ah, Day of Judgment. I'm not scared. I'm not scared about it. We're fine, we're fine. So we'll copy the Everywhere tokens. That's the only thing we can copy this time round. Alright, well, X is 2 on the Doppelgang. As long as it's not a Spell Pierce from the opponent, I guess we copy both 3 blind mice. It wouldn't be terrible to copy Overlord a couple times. Yeah, we only need 1 copy of the 3 blind mice because that'll start doing the thing itself anyways. Oh my goodness. And we still have Leyline Binding open too. Too bad we don't have Bitter Reunion on the board, right? Alright, we have to anticipate even more board wipes from the opponent, but look at our board, dude. Holy cow. Oh, Beza, that's not a board wipe. They do get a couple fishies. Oh, good game, opponent. Good game. I would have loved to play that out, though. A couple fishies. And we're actually both at 17. How does it read? You gain 4 life if an opponent has more life, not equal to. So, but they would have gotten a couple fishies, and they wouldn't have gotten the card draw. We were about to pick up the Beza with the Leyline. I don't even know if that's that great, honestly, to pick that up. Either way, we got the 3 blind mice tokens, easy peasy here. Not bad, not bad. I like it. Let's keep the ball rolling. That was fun. Ooh, getting all my daily quests done too. That's important. What do we call this deck list, guys? Since I'm going domain, I guess we call it like, I don't know. See, I don't know what I'm gonna put it up as over on YouTube. So I try to find like a title for it. It's like 4-color mice. Which is a little silly. When people think of mice, you think of like, of course, the hyper-aggressive red mice. Okay. No blue source, but are we concerned about that? No, we heard migration in hand, so yeah. This is fine. Plus surveil early turn here. Don't need another Verge right now. We can send it. Yeah, with 4 mana in hand, we can send it, especially when Herd Migration is going to find a blue anyways. Okay, Leyline, I suppose. I suppose Herd Migration is the only thing for the turn. I had to double check there just in case. It is, we can do that at instant speed, so. They go for the swing. Down to 18. Okay, they plot up a Slick Shot Show-Off, which is actually pretty scary, man. With the island, the Leyline Binding will cost 3. But we don't want them to have protection open for their Show-Off on their turn. Up the Beanstalk is pretty good. The Leyline will cost 4 next turn. Or, I'm sorry, 2 next turn, which means we can do Up the Beanstalk and Leyline. I don't want them to have protection open for the Show-Off, but we're going to risk it, man. We are, because I don't want to just pick up a Swift Spear when the Show-Off has way more explosive power. Oh, they don't even... Oh, they're actually opting for Monk over Show-Off Boost. So I guess that makes sense. So that powers up the Monk, and they can still get a Show-Off boost with something else in hand. But now they'll get everything on the board boosted, including the Monk. At that point, I think we'd still want to pick up the Show-Off. Depends where we want their protection to land. Also, we have to watch out for Spell Pierce. Can also pick up the Quarry Steel Cutter. That's something we could consider next turn, too. I'm going to opt for the Show-Off. Let's see if they have this protection that I'm worried about. Might just be boosting elsewhere. It is going to be a Burst Lightning, actually, so they're still getting 8 damage total through this turn. We do pick up the Show-Off, which is excellent news. Down to 13. Okay, Shiko, Paragon of the way. That's cool, but we don't have anything significant in the grave yet. All right. Oh, why did I think Leyline was going to be 2? Oh, crap. We don't have a white source on the board, or we don't have a plains on the board, guys. Oh, crap. That's not good. All right, let's try to draw and then If it's a plains, then that's okay. It's not a plains. That's fine too, though. That's fine. We can find the plains with this. And yeah, if it was a plains, then it would have been super punishing because we already played the land for the turn. This is okay, though. It's fine. We're totally not going to die here. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Get the good game ready, though. Okay, Emberheart Challenger. 5 on the board without any boosts. Everything gets the prowess, so an extra 3. That's 8 damage on the board. It could be all too easy, guys. No, 9 damage on the board. Burst Lightning, that's game, bro. That's game. Hey, good game, opponent. So if we would have just went Leyline, we would have picked up the Monk probably, because then there wouldn't have been anything under the Leyline. If they like decided to bounce Leyline with this town ain't big enough or something, right? Since they're rocking the Storm Chasers talent combo, this town ain't big enough is probably in there. So we would have picked up a Monk and we would have been at 1. So we would have survived the turn, which is pretty significant, right? So I probably should have just dropped the Binding, but I decided to risk it with the Up the Beanstalk instead, which is fine. There's also other stuff we could have found, like Herd Migration could have gained us a little bit of life. That also would have kept us in the game for 1 extra turn too. But yeah, that one came down to me for sure, especially when I thought the Leyline was going to be only the 2 mana there. I thought we were going to get some excellent card draw and some removal. Also, Leyline being flash, we can wait till the very last moment too. So that's something. The Verge held up the domain last game for sure, and that's very, very important. We can find a red source on the Wildling and then trade out with Bitter Reunion. I don't really like this hand. I'm going to risk it, though. I'm going to give it a shot. We're going to see. We're going to push the deck to its limits, see what we're capable of keeping. Because, yeah, grab a red source, Bitter Reunion, cycle out the 3 blind mice, get it ready for the Shiko, maybe. Herd Migration is excellent. We grab a red source, we still only have Gruul colors. But that should still be fine, especially now that we have Herd Migration. Right? Instead of trading out the 3 blind mice, we might want to trade out the Dragonback Assault because because Boros Auras is very fast. So we might need the 3 blind mice for, at the very least, a blocker of some kind. Herd Migration, maybe we just do find... Never mind, I'm going to go for trading out. I'm going to stay on task here, and we are going to ditch the Dragonback Assault because I don't think we have enough time to get to turn 5 for the Shiko. It's going to be better just to play the 3 blind mice and actually attempt to block here. Manifold Mouse. Oh, buddy, I wish we went first. I really wish we went first, man. Also, we don't have a white source in hand for the 3 blind mice. There we go. We find a Parlor, which also works. Actually, the Hedge Maze also works here too, which is actually a blue source. Then we'll have all the colors necessary on the board. And Herd Migration is the only card we have open. If I go Verge, we have the Wildling, thin the deck list, and Herd Migration. But I don't think that's the answer either. I think we want the Surveil. Yeah, we thin the deck list by sending the planes then, and then we'll shuffle on up with the Herd Migration. It's a little awkward, man. It's a little awkward, but we'll be fine. We're totally fine here, right? Right, guys? With the, okay, another challenger. With the double strike, they haven't played a single enchantment yet, guys. They're just full leaning into the mice this game. Another scavenger. Oh, man. All right. We'll take the first round of damage. Down to 4, back up to 7. They do play the other scavenger. Yeah, right about now, we're really wishing for those board wipes that I plugged into the honorable mentions, huh? So we could successfully grab anything here, but a plains would make the most sense. That way we'll have domain when it comes time. None of our domain cards are in hand though, guys. So it looks like that's it. We can play 3-blind mice, we have a chump blocker, and we still have the omen, which we can grab a forest this time would be fine. Yeah, we don't have any of our early removal, but I will say this, the early life gain on the herd migration is no joke. 3 is a lot. So there's a Sheltered by Ghost. That's why they weren't playing any of their enchantments, right? It needed a good target. They didn't want to target like the Bitter Reunion or something. So realistically, you look at this game and like the only thing that could have pulled us out of this would have been either that, well, the temporary lockdown, right? The temporary lockdown that made the cut as an honorable mention for a very good reason, dude. So yeah, I have a feeling we might get to the end of this one and talk more about those board wipes, but we'll see, we'll see. Also, so far, we're kind of just playing our own game over here of can we mana fix our 4 colors onto the board, right? And then after that, can we pop off with our combo? And as far as like the deck list doing that, it definitely knows how to do that well, I would say. Even if I'm grabbing awkward lands, or if I'm playing out the lands awkwardly, the deck list still knows how to get those colors onto the board, right? So that's important. Because after we get that down, the next step will be survival. And then, yeah, figuring out what you're going up against in the meta. So Leyline down to 3. I'll tell you what, you know, 3-mana Leyline Binding is still pretty darn good, man. Opponent goes first, unfortunately, and we're going to try it. Just Selesnya Colors pretty much plays the whole deck list, and I think it'll be all too easy to find like a Surveil land or something off the top, so we'll see what we can pull off. Also, like, with all this extra green too, finding a Overlord would be really good. Alright, let's get the forest, get ready for Up the Beanstalk next turn. Oh, Demir. Oh, okay. Esper Pixie, that's right, that's right. I've been seeing so much Is It, I got confused for a second. Yeah, we've been seeing so much Quarry Steelcutter Is It. But yes, Esper Pixie still doing the thing. That's turn 2, guys. Look at their board. That's crazy. All right, Hedge Maze. We're going to stay on task here. Yeah, we're going to stay on task. Hey, wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute. I don't know why I keep doing this with Leyline Binding, but no, it's 4 mana right now. Hedge Maze will bring it down to 3 mana. Oh, dear. Oh, dear, guys. Oh, dear. We're in danger, bro. Send the temporary lockdown. Actually, temporary lockdown isn't like the greatest thing against Esper Pixie because they can bounce it and then get all those ETBs again anyways. Right, so we can bring it down to 3. Oh dear, guys. Oh dear. The games are going too fast, man. I'm gonna go untap source. We're just gonna establish the Caretaker's talent very awkwardly. And I think we die here. What do you guys think? Let's get the good game ready. Have you guys tried out this new Sun Pearl yet from Dragonstorm? Has anyone been playing the Sun Pearl in their Pixie deck lists? Because it's budget friendly too. It's just an uncommon. This town ain't big enough, and we're alive. Thanks to the mana that lined up, huh? Either way, though, we're about to die, unfortunately, right? So. We can play Hedge Maze and Surveil. Or we can play... Is there anything else for 1 mana that would be worthwhile? If we play the Verge... No, Binding will still be 4. So we get it down to 3 with the Surveil, right? Get the blue source on the board. And There's no reason not to do it now because no matter what we die next turn. So 3 blind mice. I guess we'll pick up the, I guess an otter is fine. Good game opponent. Yeah, we're going too slow for these deck lists right now. I'm not convinced yet, but I'm getting convinced, right? They go ahead. They must have a quest because they go ahead and play the Sun Pearl just for funsies, right? Which is totally fine. Get those quests done. Get them out of the way. All right, guys. While I have you here in the middle of the video, make sure you check out that description where we do have that Discord link, as well as that Patreon link too, if you're interested in joining either of those up or supporting the channel that way. And then also, guys, for the YouTube side of things, if you like the video, make sure you actually drop it a like. And if you enjoy the channel, then consider subscribing because it really does help out the channel. So thank you, thank you. All right, let's see if we can actually, like, I don't know, slow the game down a little bit, right? It's going too fast. No green source in our opener is pretty bad here, right? I think we should actually drop the mulligan. Green sources for days, mana fixing for days. Opponent goes first. Oh dear. Oh dear. Send the Dragonback Assault. See what we can get done. Vantage, why? Why Vantage? I'm scared. Start with red source, right? And then blue source on the herd migration and triple Hushwood Verge in hand for the white source, but we still need a plains for the domain eventually anyways, so. Okay, herd migration open. Wow, nothing from the opponent. Maybe this will be a slower game here. Urbax Forge. Heck yeah, dude. All right. We grab a blue source. We're just ignoring the domain for now and making sure we actually have all 4 of our deck's colors on the board. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And we find a plains. All right, that's enough mana, bro. That's enough mana. Holy cow. All right, we might as well play the plains instead of the Verge, just based on what's in our hand, which is nothing, apparently. Actually, what's in our hand is enough to eventually go X's 2 on the Doppelgang, so that's something, I suppose. Yeah, no blocks. Let's see if they pick up the mouse with something else here. Get some removal out of their hand, maybe? No, they go for the Caretaker's Talent to generate a 2-1. Get some... Oh, a Caretaker's Talent. Oh, thank goodness, bro. Thank goodness. Like, we desperately needed to do something about their Caretaker's Talent too. So we need the second white source on the board, so that way we can use this ability this turn. And we do want to utilize it while we can. Make sure we have enough mice. Doppelgang, hi. Hi there, buddy. You ready for an X's 2 in 4 turns? Okay, Fabled Passage from the opponent. Yeah, right now we're like full leaning into mana fixing and establishing the combo. Oh, Sunfall. Opponent. That's mean, bro. That's mean. Now we don't have any copies for the 3 blind mice, unfortunately. Oh no, more mana. Oh, that's really bad, right? We have X's 1 on the Doppelgang, which might actually be worth it here. Yeah, more mana is really bad. I'm gonna go X's 1 while we can on the 3 blind mice and see if we can start copying it that way, right? And this is card draw too, because it's a token, which is essential. A Dragonback Assault back in our hand. That actually could be really game-changing, dude, because we can play it next turn. That could be really good. Oh, get lost. My Caretaker's Talent. Ah. You monster opponent. Dude, okay. We're actually getting we're actually getting in danger here. I think we should chump the 4/4 while we can, while we have a chump blocker. Got to copy 3 blind mice. Ability. Oh yeah, dude, we're in so much trouble. Urabrass Forge is about to go up to 5 counters next turn. There we go. Okay, Overlord is actually pretty legit. Copy token, copy 3 blind mice. Can't believe they popped our Caretaker's talent, guys. Dragonback Assault unfortunately doesn't do 3 damage, or doesn't pop their Phyrexian because it's actually a 4/4, but it does pop our mouse, so maybe we hold off and just go Overlord. Another Get Lost! No, opponent, why? Dude, oh no. We had a great chance for amazing setups. I'll tell you what, with 3 blind mice in the grave, though, we could find Shiko off the top at some point. If we establish Dragonback Assault, we're taking 9 damage next turn. I cannot guarantee that we don't die from a couple Lightning Helix or other burn, right? So if we go Overlord, maybe with 2 Get Lost out of the build, Overlord is enough to block the Phyrexian for now. It also gives us a little bit more ramp. However, it would be much better just to establish Overlord after the Dragonback Assault. I think we just go Overlord of the Hauntwoods to anticipate a block. We might as well use a map token too. Maybe we get it above some burn. Bitter Reunion is actually pretty sick, right? I'm keeping that. So we can trade out some of this mana here. Oh, they go Caretaker's talent. Oh, they're forcing a block, guys. Oh man, I did not anticipate this, but great news. They missed the Get Lost, but now we're losing the Overlord, so we won't have the extra dragon. Taking 7 from the Forge. Dude, we're in desperate need of our Leyline Bindings. All 4 of them in here. We see it all the time, man. We see domain builds draw all 4 of them. Let's see them, right? Of course, we got rid of our main card draw with Caretaker's talent. Or they got rid of it, I mean, but... Okay. Bitter Reunion. It's our only red source, so we don't have the Dragonback Assault unless we see... No, we have everywhere on the board, though. That's good news, right? Guess it doesn't really matter which one I get rid of. Encroaching Dragonstorm. Okay, the Wildling is actually pretty good, right? Yeah. Okay, so the other Verge can come down. We can play this successfully, go back up to 9. It chump blocks well. And then we can go ahead and use the map token. Herd Migration is pretty decent, man. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna die. Because Forge is getting out of hand, and we desperately needed to see our Leyline Bindings. Uh-oh. Caretaker's talent. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. The fact that that's an 8/3. So it could easily be a Lightning Helix. We take 7 down to 2 if we block here, or we can take out their Bunny Rabbit. Down to 1 and get the good game ready. Ah, Lightning Helix. Good game, good game. Dude, I think we could have pulled that through. I really do. We kind of got picked apart, but I don't know. Call me crazy. I feel like we could have gotten there easily, huh? Guys, that should unfortunately be the last one of the evening because I have a lot to say about this deck list. I want to bring up those board wipes again. I mean, look at how well a couple Get Lost or even one Get Lost in the deck list would have helped out in that last game potentially. I do think we could have drawn better. I do think that the early hands could have been a little better. We had to drop multiple mulligans today. Number one, the first thing we have to talk about here, no matter what, right, is the mana base. How did I land on the mana? So if we look at the split here, we're majority green because we're doing a lot of mana fixing, and then some white sources here too. So Selesnya. Let's just pretend we're Selesnya for a second. So we have our plains, we have our forest, right? We have all 4 of the Hushwood Verge in here too, which most of the time is just going to be excellent Selesnya dual land. What we saw today with the Hushwood Verge was the fact that it actually does hold up the domain when we care about domain on cards like Leyline Binding and Herd Migration, hopefully getting the binding down to 1. A lot of times the Leyline Binding is going to be 2 though, based on the mana base, since we don't have swamps until we actually have Overlord, which you're looking at as the impending cost here, so more rearranging there as well. Outside of that, we also saw how much the Hushwood Verge actually held up the binding and made it just like 4 mana, which is definitely a little too steep for what the deck list is trying to do. I do think, again, I think we got a little unlucky with that, but I might be wrong too. I could easily be how I just put the deck list together. So let's pretend we're trying to get the leyline down to 1, but that's only going to happen when you have Overlord. But we'll still pretend that that's the curve for now. Back to the mana base over here. If we're looking at the Selesnya land still. So Commercial District is a mountain and a forest, because look here, we just have a little splash of blue and a little splash of red. And that little splash of blue and a little splash of red is for our actually essential cards, essential to the combo. Doppelgang, Shiko, and Bitter Reunion, not as essential, right? But it's still kind of pretty good in a deck list like this. And then a top end Dragonback Assault as well. So, which really could have come in handy in that last match if we actually had any amount of survival, any way to actually get this onto the board. Leyline Binding just not being enough removal for what we saw today by any means. Sometimes it's enough, sometimes it's not. We definitely need to talk about more removal. Anyways, there's the splash of blue, there's the splash of red. So we're splashing that blue and splashing that red with cards that actually have more green sources, because we're still trying to mana fix with these green source cards. And Wildling also needs to be rearranged for the Omen. So 1 green mana. Again, we're mana fixing with green. So the Wildling, 1 green mana Omen, mana fix, grab that basic. Same thing with the Herd Migration. You need that green. You need double green on the Overlord. So green is our mana fixing cards. And Encroaching Dragonstorm too. But by the time you have 4 mana, the most mana fixing that this is going to do is probably just finish your domain, or finish your domain of 4 at the very least, right? So anyways, our Surveil lands are green because that's what the deck is leaning towards. That's what we want to see early on. But it also is splashing the red and splashing the blue in here. And then we also have a more splash of red and a more splash of blue, because we're kind of looking at it as like a Selesnya build. So these ones, we have the Parlor and we also have the Archive, because those tap for white. And again, splashing the red, splashing the blue, and same thing with the mountain and the island. We just grab them out easy peasy with the Omen or the Herd Migration. How's the split? What do you guys think, guys? Like 24 mana, first of all, felt like enough, especially when we're ripping that many lands out of the deck list. And the deck thinning, it probably really comes in handy. Dude, that last game, we kind of flooded too, right? We had so much mana. Although, again, it comes down to the mana fixing as we're trading out our cards for even more land. I don't know. 1 Leyline Binding could have been the turning point, and I think we could have started our engines instead of theirs, you know? So, okay, anyways, let me know. What do you think of the mana base? It makes sense when I split it up like this, right? I think so. Shiko, Paragon of the Way. Yeah, exile target non-land card. So it doesn't even have to be a permanent. That's really interesting. One problem with running Shiko in domain is the fact that they're not mana value 3 or less by any means. Leyline Binding 6 mana, Herd Migration's 7 mana. So, but other than that, you know, you could still hit Bitter Reunion, which isn't terrible. Up the Beanstalk if they popped it with like a Get Lost or something, or maybe you discarded an extra one to the Bitter Reunion. Caretaker's Talent, if they pop that with a Get Lost, you can hit that with Shiko, and that is often a target, okay? Caretaker's Talent's so good at restocking your hand, it is often a target for Get Losts. We saw that today, actually, so. And then 3 Blind Mice sends itself to the grave after 4th anyways, but outside of that, again, we could potentially send it with Reunion, or maybe they pop it with a Get Lost. Get Lost is used often, so I think the 2 of Shiko makes a lot of sense. And then I do like that small little dragon theme that we got here. the Encroaching Dragonstorm, and 6 dragons packed in with the Wildling and the Shiko, but also top-end Dragonback Assault, generating 4/4 dragons, which you really could pop off with, especially if you copy lands with the Doppelgang, which is kind of gross, right? And then give it haste with the Bitter Reunion. That's neat. That's really neat is what that is. So it is when a dragon you control enters. It's not like when you cast a dragon too, so that does work with the Dragonstorm, does bounce it back nicely. It's neat, dude. It's really cool, but we need more survival, so the honorable mentions is where the more survival comes in handy, right? So temporary lockdown, number 1. What do we add or take out to include these? At the very least, at least we have that Selesnya split, so we're still leaning a little white sources anyways. I don't know. Honestly, you don't have to full lean into the combo with 3 blind mice. You could drop this down to 3, go up that lockdown, survive that extra turn, all right? Number 2, I don't know if we need this many of the wildlings either. I could see dropping this down to 3 as well. I don't know if we need both Encroaching Dragonstorms, although it's cool and the mana fixing's nice and ramp is nice. I think we could drop this down to 1. And then go up a couple Sunfalls maybe, or the second temporary lockdown and 1 emergency Sunfall. And if you're going up like Sunfall especially, if you go up a couple Sunfalls and 1 temporary lockdown, you don't want to drop any of the Up the Beanstalks, I would say. Dropping up the Beanstalk down to 2 could be another way to go up those extra. Just remember that Lockdown and Sunfall both have double white, so you do have to consider the mana base if you start leaning the white sources over the green. You probably won't, depending on what you drop, especially if you drop 1 or 2 3 blind mice for the extra removal, right? If you drop 2 3 blind mice and go up a couple temporary lockdowns, you probably don't have to change the mana base. You just got to keep an eye on things, because there are going to be moments where you only have 1 white source on the board. At that point, I could see dropping a Wildling down to 3 for that emergency Sunfall. Or the opposite of that. Drop 2 3 blind mice for 2 Sunfall, drop a Wildling for a temporary lockdown. Those are the ones that I'm thinking, but also you could just consider Get Lost too, right? A couple extra Get Lost and an emergency top-end Sunfall. It's tough decisions, man. It's tough decisions. So every now and then I full lean into a combo or something, and it works out actually quite nicely. Like just what we saw today, we just weren't doing enough. Although I was still impressed by what the deck list was capable of, but I'm usually pretty impressed by what Doppelgang can do. So this is fun. This was neat. And remember, this was a suggestion over in the Discord. I did land on something quite different, but either way, thank you again for the suggestion. It was definitely fun, and I hope I made some cool modifications to the deck list to, at the very least, maybe get the gears turning or something, you know? Yeah, this was neat. Let me know in the comments, did I land on something good for the mana base? 4-color mana bases are no joke. They are hard, man. This was rough. This was rough to put together, but it felt right, especially since it was so easy to go ahead and just grab those lands out anyway, or whatever we needed out. The problem is, as you take the turn to grab the land, is the opponent going to win next turn? And oftentimes the answer is going to be yes. So yeah, it's rough, man. The meta's fast, really fast. All right, yeah, put it on the do not craft list. If you do have all the cards already, give it a shot. Get back to me, let me know. Maybe we got a little unlucky today. Maybe you're considering going up those Sunfalls or temporary lockdowns or Get Lost, right? Maybe you have something in mind for better removal that's perfect for what you're seeing in the meta. Let me know in the comments, what's the removal of choice for you? Either way, yeah, I think that's everything. If you made it this far into the video, y'all are champions for real. Definitely let me know all that good information down in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.